The majority of successful women will always prefer to marry a man who is either on their level or far above them in terms of social and economic status. With that being said, we know that hypergamy is undefeated, so these women find it damn near impossible to marry a man they see as being beneath them, which they would call settling, and as a result, successful older women struggle to find a man that they want to marry. My brothers, it comes as no surprise that successful older women struggle to find. They are the ones who drink the womanism Kool-Aid and pursue their jobs in the background. And there's nothing wrong with that in my book as long as women don't complain when the result of doing so is eating alone with their cats. They are the ones who are drinking the womanism Kool-Aid. I'm heartless out here. Gentlemen, they chose this life, so they just have to deal with it or take the men they can get and treat them well. That's all I'll say on that one. If not, and they don't want to settle because they can't find a man that is above them, then go die alone. That's my stance, and I don't care who wants to be upset because women have no problem dissing broke men, so why would I care? Women have no problem. If they are too successful to find a man who is willing to commit to them because of their success, that is their problem. You shouldn't feel sorry for them. Always remember to keep your veins cool, guys, since they don't care when you can't get the woman you want. This gets me to a post that I found from thepowermoves.com, which is a pretty well written article on why successful women fail at dating, so we are going to go into it. Click the like button, then grab some refreshments. Gents, it starts that successful women in their lives are often not nearly as successful at dating as most of us have heard or experienced anecdotal evidence of successful women's dating woes. You know Jane, that smart, accomplished, high-income career woman who's just so poor at dating and can't manage to find and hold on to a good man. Well, turns out there are millions of successful Janes, but why is that number one? The higher she goes, the more her dating pool shrinks. The second reason is that successful women are more likely. Let's begin with the first and most obvious reason for this phenomenon. Women, more so than men, show a more or less marked tendency toward hypergamy, which means that they prefer men who are better than they are. This creates an obvious problem because the more successful a woman is in life, the fewer eligible men she will find who is at her level or above. Ordinary women have an easier time finding dating options that appeal to them than successful women do. Okay, gentlemen, so far this article is spot on. Women do not want to date because of hypergamy, and they will always want the best man they can get. But what women don't understand is that the more money they make, the fewer available men will qualify for those women. They think it's the reversal and more men will be available, which is simply not the case. Women believe that they are men and that the same rules apply, which they do not. Men and women are different, and women will never understand that their success and wealth are not choosing signals for men. We want submissive, cooperative, sexy, and beautiful women, so, if the majority of them do not date, they will continue to struggle with dating, and that is simply the reality. Let's continue. Women want men who are ahead of them, so let's continue. Women want men who are ahead of. This thing about settling is what is hurting them the most, and if they can't understand that basic supply and demand is why they can't get the men they want, then it is what it is. There are not a lot of men at the top, and not all the men at the top will want a woman at the top, so it blows my mind that successful women can't understand this. The higher up the economic scale a person goes, the fewer people will be at that level because of basic supply, and let's continue. Number 2. Female success is not as attractive as some women think. It is what men don't like about successful women. It's not that men don't like successful women. But number 1, men have lower success standards than women. Number 2, some traits men value can be antithetical to success. That is age submissiveness and a nurturing disposition. Number 3, men only value professional success up to a certain point and rarely above their level. Sure, men say they value intelligence and success, but they rarely value success above their level. Number 4, men only value professionalism. Some guys are attracted to women who are less intelligent than they are. Studies have shown that males regard female intelligence above a certain threshold as unattractive, and this is primarily the case when they believe that woman is more intelligent than they are. To the point where he loses interest. Researchers in evolutionary psychology found that men who rated clever women highly for long-term attractiveness nonetheless ranked them low in sexual attraction. Okay, gentlemen, I agree with what he's saying because I wouldn't want to date a woman who makes more money than I do in money. I'm not afraid of her, but I do know that at some point she will flaunt the fact that she makes more money than me, and she won't respect my authority because she's in a better financial position than I am. Why would I agree to that? Only a man who doesn't respect himself would agree to that arrangement, so I'd rather date a woman who makes less money because I'm more likely to get better treatment from her than this is a clown world, gentlemen, and I have to be real with you guys. That is why I agree with the passport gang in their decision to leave the United States to find women in less developed countries. Go where you are wanted, not where you are tolerated. Just don't be stupid and marry these women and bring them back to your first world country. Otherwise, you will learn very quickly how quickly a woman can change her mind about you anyway. Let's continue. There are a lot of males who like less dominant women. Women gravitate toward more dominant guys, while men choose more submissive women. This holds for some of the most successful men as well, which explains why there are so many tycoons whose wives have relatively little public profile. Statistics show that men tend to marry women who make less, or women tend to marry men who make more. No amount of shaming men for wanting successful older women is going to change the fact that most highly successful men typically date broke and beautiful women. Time and culture have changed, but people haven't, and deep down, most people don't feel it's okay for her to earn more. The attitude translates into numbers, as statistics show that men tend to be more feminine. Consider Donald Trump as a model to follow in this regard. If given the chance, my brothers, which would you choose? An old woman with gremlin feet or a young girl with pretty feet? I know you guys are going to choose the young girl with pretty feet, so don't lie to yourselves. Let's continue. Men tend to be wary of highly ambitious women. He didn't choose to marry an old woman with gremlin feet as his last wife. Instead, he got himself a poor young pretty thing. And I don't blame him. Women like ambitious guys, but men don't give ambitious women any extra credit. Ambition is often seen as a trait of men. This is probably why women try to hide their ambitions. Women who do not try to conceal their ambition risk being labeled as gender deviants and receiving a worse score. Alpha males prefer nicer ladies. Lastly, some alpha males choose not to date alpha females because they think it will lead to more power struggles and less caring on both sides. It's possible that successful men don't like to admit it, but they'd rather come home to a gentle lady who can help them relax than to another woman who fights for her position in the corporate world. Many dominant women will submit to more dominating men, but they still require more effort to tame, which is why many dominant men prefer submissive women, to begin with. If a guy wants to tame a woman, he should look for a woman who is already submissive. Why would I want another bull in the relationship to test me constantly? When is a highly ambitious woman going to find time to drain my balls? It's not rocket science if you stop and think about why men steer clear of these types of women. Guys, I wouldn't do it. I want someone who will be available when I need to bust that nasty nut. Let's be honest, if I am a dominant and successful man, why would I want another bull in the relationship to test me constantly? Why not a woman who is going to tell me she's too busy and that I'll have to wait until she's finished working? Oh hell no to all the BS. I'll take the broke chick who is ready to have her 10 toes up in the air and who wants a dominant woman who is going to test me constantly and try to compete and prove to me that she's just as good at working and making money as I am. I'll pass on that one. I don't want someone to judge me or break my balls. I want someone to love and support me. I said to shut the hell up, bury her face in the pillow, and put her butt up in the air. Am I wrong? Let's continue with high quality guys having options and leverage. Here's another dating problem for businesswomen. The dating markets for high quality men and women are completely different because, when men and women climb the career ladder, their dating markets go in the opposite direction, and women would rather not date men with less accomplishment. This creates huge imbalances in the upper echelons of social status. Look at this chart. Successful men have huge leverage, which leaves some career women frustrated when said men don't chase and invest at all. Doesn't he realize what a great catch I am? They'd wonder, well, successful men have huge leverage, which leaves some career women frustrated when said men don't chase and invest at all. John Berger states in Daytona Mix that when there are a lot of women around, many men go from being monogamous to practicing the tactic of spreading the seed far and wide. If you want to have control over women, then you need some leverage and money. It's a fact that you can't get the best treatment from women unless you have options. This is why men in this sphere will tell you first you get the money, then you get the power, and finally, the women will come to you. You won't have to go out there to chase women and run games and all that BS. So if you want to have the highest quality women, then you need to have leverage and options. Especially when it comes to being seen in public. Before, when you were poor, you may have liked BBW and Pogs, but now that you are a man, you can't be seen in public and coming out of a sports car with those types of women. Maybe she can't even fit in the car, So you'll have to get a fit young thing as your arm candy or trophy wife. That's just how things are, brothers, and you'll realize this after the mother you seek. However, let us return to the point that high-quality women are abundant. The cliché states that there are no good men anymore, but can we consider this to be a cliché? It seems that this is not the case, at least not for successful women. As much as high quality is a subjective term, of course, it's less subjective than some sources would have you believe. And women are kicking men's asses in many of the areas that make a person high quality, including the fact that women are more educated than men, and it is harder for a successful woman to find a successful man. This is because high quality is a subjective term, of course, but it's less subjective than some sources would have you believe. Since women have historically been reluctant to marry less educated men, this presents a significant challenge for successful women's dating opportunities. In recent years, women have been adapting to this reality or settling for less, but the highest rates of unmarried and childless women are still to be found among the most highly educated women. The reality is that an increasing number of women are beginning to outer average men because most women are going to college, especially in the United States now. If they want to go and rack up student loan debt that most of them will never pay off and remain debt slaves until they croak, then that's cool. How about it just stop moaning that you can't find men who make as much money as you do? You chose to be a high earner, so deal with it and humble yourselves. Ladies, become a slave to your career in corporate for all I care, and stop complaining that you can't find men who make as much money as you. They have concluded that college is not worth the debt it will incur, and as a result, they are opting for skill-based and blue-collar jobs that pay the same as, or even more than, these career women over time. However, these career women do not want these men. They believe these men are beneath them because they did not attend college. So it is what it is. I respect any man who does real work like plumbers, electricians, masons, truckers, contractors, and so on. If it weren't for those men, the country wouldn't be able to run properly. If you pass up a plumber that makes six figures just because he doesn't work at the corner office in the big skyscraper, then go die alone. That is all I have to say. Boom.